Commerce here. This started in the Montebello area, and the Montebello Police Department was the handling agency, and the highest rate of speed that we've seen in this pursuit is about 50 miles an hour. It's been on surface streets the whole time. However, the driver has been driving slightly erratic at times, going wrong side of the road, jumping into those turn pockets, running red lights just like we're seeing here, and making our way now still northbound through Commerce on Atlantic, coming up on Everton. And this has just been the pace of the pursuit here. Air 18 police helicopter overhead is calling the pursuit for those ground units so they can focus on driving and keeping eyes on the vehicle. But here, coming up on stop traffic, that's the 5 freeway that is right under them right now. But stop traffic here, we'll have to see what the driver decides to do, but it looks like they're just going to hold behind that traffic, not going to jump onto the wrong side of the road or anything there. Actually, there they go, up onto the curb, and it looks like they're going to try to go over that center divider into those opposing lanes or stop those officers now getting out of their vehicle. And here we go once again, that traffic cleared out, and we're on the move, and it looks like we're going to be going onto the freeway now. This is the first time this pursuit's been on the freeway. It looks like we're going to be getting onto the 5 northbound from Atlantic here if this continues. But right now we're on Camfield or Telegraph from Atlantic, and it looks like we're going to be getting on that 5 northbound. Now, what can happen here when we're in a pursuit like this is that they can ask for CHP to take over the pursuit now that it's on the freeway, as that's the California Highway Patrol's jurisdiction, and they know their freeways best, and they are happy to take over these pursuits if it gets into their jurisdiction onto those freeways, as they're more suited for it, and they train for that. The Montebello Police Department is really good in Montebello, but the CHP is the agency for the freeways. Speeding up a little bit now, 60 miles an hour, just a little faster than traffic. This white SUV, we're still trying to figure out the want. Our assignment desk doing a great job at trying to get that information now, but still about 45 miles an hour, 50 miles an hour here, northbound 5 through Atlantic now, working our way through Commerce. Now this time of day, Glenn and Lou, we see a little more traffic as people start to head home for the day, especially on a Friday. So we'll have to see what happens as this continues. But right now on the 5, it's pretty open all the way up for about 5 miles, and then some pretty heavy traffic. So we'll have to see what happens as it continues. But you can see the police department still on the suspect's tail. They did not go into that tracking mode, into that center divider there, and it looks like we're going to be jumping onto this off ramp, it might be, or it might just be the carryover for let's see here, the 710 it looks like. So we are making our way now northbound, this pursuit's just it's very low rates of speed right now, 60 miles an hour. I'm just trying to listen to the scanners to see if I can get any more info, but now jumping all the way over from that number 1 lane into that number 4 lane. We'll have to see what happens here. The suspect's been kind of circling the area of Montebello. It made its way out a few times. Wow, just almost getting close to that bumper of that blue car there. That car probably didn't see it coming up on its tail. This car now, the suspect getting a little more assertive with their driving, weaving in and out of traffic. We're going to try to peek into that driver window. I apologize for this zoom real quick, but we'll use our doubler to try to get into the front of that vehicle. It looks like we do have a driver. I don't see any other occupants in the vehicle. Black shirt, gray pants, so that's something that the airship overhead is keeping tabs on, of this driver of this white BMW here, so that if this pursuit does end and the suspect does run from the vehicle, the officers on the ground have a good idea of what that suspect is wearing, so it's a little easier for them to find that suspect. It looks like we're going to be getting off the freeway here, or coming to a stop in this gore point here, coming to a stop now. We'll see what happens. The police department looks like they may have backed off. Yeah, no police behind the vehicle at this time, so we'll have to see what happens as this pursuit continues. But right now, the suspect in that gore point for the off-ramp here, 710, right about 3rd Street in East L.A, Los Angeles. No units behind it, but we'll have to see what happens with that airship still overhead. That's right. Yeah, running into that traffic there, just driving like normal as if nothing had happened. The air unit's still overhead. The driver is aware that we are here, that's for sure, and aware that the airship's there as well, looking out their window just moments ago. But no ground units behind this vehicle, but that air unit is still tracking from above, making those call-outs to agencies in the area to see if any of them will take over the pursuit as we continue here, making that move into that number 2 lane there a little assertive there, kind of cutting off that black car that was behind it, but just sitting in this northbound 710 traffic as we come up to the 60 here, and it's a little strange not having those black and whites behind it, but this could be a strategy that they're using to try to get this driver to stop or pull over and get out of the vehicle, so then they can apprehend the suspect at a later time. But with that that air unit overhead, the suspect's not going to get away. That's for sure. That air unit is keeping eyes on him, just like we are. Still making those call outs. I'm hearing them on the different scanners, and they're just they're monitoring the situation. CHP is still monitoring the situation as well, and sometimes it just takes a few minutes as well to get those units into the area. They could be working on other calls or other incidences in the area, but sitting in this traffic here, going about 10 miles an hour, which even on surface streets wasn't uncommon. The suspect was driving pretty slowly, even though he was erratic at moments. But we're just going to continue this now back into the area of Monterey Park. You can see that shadow of that air unit go over every once in a while. They're holding a little higher of an altitude, but keeping that, but still calling out to those ground units on the ground. And that's the name of the game nowadays with the pursuits, is having that air unit overhead takes a lot of the stress off the officers on the ground so they can back away and hopefully get the driver to drive a little safer, and that air unit can stay overhead and keep an eye on them and call out anything that may be occurring to both the officers on the ground as well as those dispatchers and the command staff as well, who are making decisions on what's next for the pursuit. So getting another agency involved, deciding if they're going to use a spike strip or or something like a pit maneuver to bring this to an end. That pit maneuver is not really the best option at this point, even if there were officers behind the vehicle, just due to the speeds. But it is something that those supervisors and those command staff are considering at all times and trying to find the perfect moment to use those tactics to bring this to a successful and a peaceful end without harming any of the public in the area. But luckily in this case, Glenn and Lou, the driver is driving fairly normally, not putting many lives at risk. However, the police department still has a want out for this suspect for unknown reasons. At this time, we're still trying to figure out why they went in pursuit with this vehicle. So they're still monitoring this and still wanting to apprehend this suspect when they get the chance. That's not, I haven't heard anything, and just looking through that driver window there, it looks like there might be some items in that passenger seat, but I don't see anyone in there or any movement. So quite possibly just the driver at this time. And from when we first heard this pursuit, we didn't hear of anyone get out of the vehicle or anything of that nature. So quite possibly just the driver in there, and that's who they are looking to apprehend at this point. Okay. That's right. So yeah, it's a little strange in that sense. Maybe the suspect is trying to see if maybe any officers will come up on that suspect. Maybe they have a decision to make up here as we get near this interchange of which freeway to go to. But right now, it even sounds like the air unit is breaking off from this pursuit. They're no longer going to be following this from above. So maybe the officers on the ground with the decisions of their command staff decided, hey, we maybe know where this license plate comes back to, and we can just get this suspect at a later time, and then let this suspect drive on their way for now, and not put any more of the public at risk. So right now, no units behind the vehicle, and the air unit's actually pulling off as well. So we'll have to see what happens as this continues into the afternoon. Yeah, that's right, and I'm not hearing it on the scanners anymore. So that may just be the case of they've decided that this isn't worth it at this point. They don't want to put people in harm's way, especially on the freeways. We can get up to some high speeds if it continues on the freeway, and so at this point they're just gonna step back and then look to apprehend this suspect or get this vehicle back at a different time when it's safer to do so. It is a BMW SUV. I'm not sure of the exact make or the exact model of it, but these vehicles, even though they are SUVs, they do have some power to them. So that is something that they do keep in mind when they're checking on the validity of a pursuit or how long they want to continue it. Is what danger that the vehicle itself can put the public in. And a vehicle like this, we're already up to 80 miles an hour, and it looks like nothing right now on the freeway. But that can be very dangerous in the wrong circumstances. So that's even another consideration that the watch commanders and different supervisors have to make is this performance vehicle, a BMW, worth pursuing right now? The suspect's going to be coming up on some traffic here as we continue westbound on the 10 freeway, getting more into the East L.A. area. So we'll have to see what happens here. Slamming on the brakes there, having to weave around that white car, following this truck now, but still no air unit overhead, no ground units right behind. But the CHP is aware of this vehicle and might be keeping an eye out for them. They do use interagency communication methods to communicate with different agencies. Montebello can hand off to the CHP. The CHP can hand off to other agencies in the area. Looks like we're under this overpass now, so we'll have to see what happens when the suspect pops out. But it looks like that suspect's just holding into that traffic there, right behind this white pickup. And there it is. And we'll try to get a better shot inside that that windshield for you. And it looks like we were talking about Glenn and Lou, just the driver in there. I don't see a passenger, and it doesn't look like there's anyone in that back seat as well. So this driver's just taking a stroll now through into the East LA, almost downtown area, and we'll have to just see where this goes as the afternoon progresses. But the great thing is that here in Sky 5, we have that ability to follow from above and not lose the suspect no matter where he goes due to our vantage point. So we'll continue to follow it for you guys and definitely bring you the latest as it becomes available as we follow this vehicle and this pursuit.